Hello everyone and welcome to Trollvember Day 5 Cook. I'm not gonna lie, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing when I went into this. All I knew is what I did not want to include. I did not want to include the classic white chef hat, the classic white shirt, white apron that all typical trope chefs have that you always see in media. I knew I didn't want to include this because the reason chefs have that in the first place in the real world is because of the belief that if it's white, then it is clean, because you can see dirt on white materials, and if you don't see dirt, then you're fine. I also don't think trolls would understand germ theory, so they probably don't wear gloves, so you wouldn't be wearing gloves. And since I didn't want either of those, I didn't really have any good reason to explain how this troll was a chef, so I was just kind of flying out the seat of my pants, really. So with no real idea on where I was going, I just started with the basics. I gave this troll one of the palest possible skin tones. They can only ever get like this pale or like two other options. They can't get any lighter than that. I gave him some dark hair, some dark eyes, some very intense eyebrows. He kind of ended up looking like Ron Swanson from, like, what is it, The Office? Something like that. I gave him a ponytail with a golden ring holding it in place, and I gave him an Osgoo on the hat layer, which is that cloth material that covers his ears. The ponytail will eventually be moving onto the hat layer as well, because I didn't realize it at the time, but the Osgoo covers the ponytail, thus making it impossible to see the gold, and it doesn't really make sense to have it over a ponytail. But yeah, once I had his head sorted out, then it was kind of a mess. I wasn't sure where I was going with it or what I was gonna do. So since I knew I wanted him to not be wearing gloves, I just decided to start filling in his arms. Okay, he's got empty, bland arms, nothing special on him, exposed hands. After that, I decided to look for shirt options and filling out his legs. Again, I didn't want him wearing shoes because probably didn't have any germ theory, didn't know what to do otherwise. Eventually, I decided to give him a sheet shirt, similar to another troll I have, where it's effectively just a blanket with a hole cut in the middle and your sides are exposed, but your front and back are covered. And eventually, after roughing up that shirt a bit, I kind of decided, okay, well, I need something that will at least imply to people that he is a chef. I don't think that he's wearing this because he is a chef, but I gave him a white cloth loincloth just to give off like the illusion of an apron. I don't think this is something he would wear every day. He would probably he might have other loincloth options available in different colors if he so chooses, but we needed something that could suggest chef. So something that looks like an apron. It's not an apron though, it's a loincloth. It's not supposed to do aprony things, it does loinclothy things. To try and help further, I decided, okay, let's take his skin color, let's make it slightly darker, and let's add just some random spots on his arms and later onto his face. These are supposed to be like grease splatter marks, like where what he's cooking splashed up and landed on his arms and caused a tiny little burn. It kind of looks like freckles. A lot of people might look at this and think, okay, those are freckles, and that is a valid interpretation, but the intent was to be grease stains and markings and burns and stuff like that. The only other thing I could think of to give him to sell a chef thing was food, so I decided, okay, let's make a sack of wheat and put it on his back. Why would a cook have a sack of wheat on his back? I don't know, but I needed something, and this was like the biggest, most prominent idea I had at the time, so I just kind of went with it. Had to go get the wheat colors from Minecraft and fiddled around, put it in there. It didn't come out the greatest, but I had very few pixels to play with, so I couldn't exactly, get it down perfect, so it's a very rough bag of wheat, but it is a bag of wheat nonetheless. After that, I just kind of thought, okay, this needs to be connected somehow, so I put a sash around him, and connected that to the sack of wheat. Eventually I rotate the sack of wheat because it's facing the wrong way for the sash to properly connect. Eventually I decide, okay, let's turn that sash into a full belt. And I also think, okay, he needs some tools. He needs some cooking utensils. So I give him a golden knife on his thigh, and on his other thigh I give him a sack of supposed to be spice or some kind of cooking ingredient. Could also be a water satchel. I end up changing its color later just because the current one blends in too much with his loincloth. And I also give him some leather straps around his arms. The leather straps around his arms serve no functional purpose. They are purely aesthetic. They are just like, I figure they're like right between the shoulder and bicep to just look interesting. That's really all they're there for. And I made his knife gold because, as I found out previously yesterday, the Nordic gold that I thought was made of gold is actually made out of copper. So I'm not sure if Nordic gold would actually be a thing with trolls. I'm gonna have to do more research into that, see if there was a different metal that person in chat was thinking of. Anyways, with all that done, I start messing up all the materials, getting the hair done, getting the fabrics done, getting the cloth done, getting the hide done. I give him some chest and belly hair, a little bit of back hair. Basically just spend a good amount of time roughing it up while I try and desperately think of something to give him to make him look more like a chef, because what I got currently barely sells it, if at all. Eventually, someone in Twitch chat recommends giving him a salt and pepper shaker. So I do that. I give him a salt and pepper shaker. They also recommended some food stains on their shirt. So I gave him a red stain and a green stain on the front of his shirt to look like food splattered onto him or something. That doesn't show up for a little bit still. In the end, I'm not gonna say I'm super happy with the design. I really don't feel like it sells the whole chef idea, and I don't have a lot to talk about him otherwise. But yeah, it is what it is. It's something that looks like a chef, kind of, maybe. It's a troll. That's what's important here. It's a troll. It's another troll. And by the end of it, after a lot of finicking with details, we get him a little to look at least somewhat better and maybe a little more chef-like. You might see those splatters as freckles. You might not realize that those are salt and pepper shakers. You might not realize that's a bag of weed on his back. I don't know, but I tried my best. That's what's important, and nothing I can do but move forward. Whoever or whatever he is another troll for the roster, and that's what's important. And so tomorrow, or at least today, by the time this episode will be uploaded, we will be doing Trollvember Day 6, which is time. That's going to be another difficult one. I'm not sure what to do for time. The best I can think of is a sundial, like someone wearing a sundial watch or something. I don't think trolls really have a concept of time, at least not as we understand it. I don't think they have like clocks or clockwork or anything like that. I think the day after that is the prompt hell, which I have an idea for, but it's not going to be like a canon troll or anything. It's going to be a non-canon one. But yeah, it's going to be tricky. It's going to be tricky to figure out what exactly I'm doing for the next couple of days. So trolls might be a little weird, might be only vaguely connected to their prompt. But in the meantime, I'm gonna have to say thank you everyone so much for watching. Be sure to leave a like if you liked it. Don't if you didn't. My name is TamTroll. This has been Trollvember Day 5 Cook, and I will see you next time. Farewell!